Hello and welcome to the fours module, or as we say sometimes, welcome to the other side of the school. Um, the purpose of this is to help orient you into the classroom, and then also to tell you some specific things that we might see in the fours that you could help with when you're the working parent. So when you're the working parent in the fours classroom, you are able to really assist in so many really exciting ways. In the twos and the threes, we do a lot of social emotional growth, and we'll still continue that in the fours. But there's also so many things that 4-year-olds are excited about learning. And we really want to encourage you when you're in the classroom to dive into that. If a child is, showing interest in colors, then dive into that. If they're showing interest in the letters of their name, go ahead and start talking about that. Other things that start with a G, because your name starts with a G. Don't feel intimidated or nervous, like, oh, I'm going off topic. Anything that you're going to do where you're diving in, where you're interacting with children, where you're expanding their vocabulary is going to be beneficial. If you end up going so far off, the teacher will let you know, like, hey, this was the purpose of this task. So let's head back, to this goal. But otherwise, there's so many different ways. So if you feel inspired to, grab a book off of the shelf to explain something that they're seeing in the science center, go ahead and do that. Your role in here is as a teacher's aide. So if you see a way that you can expand learning during child-directed play, go ahead and do that. I really want to encourage you that if you see a child leaving a center during child-directed time without cleaning up their area, to have them come back and help you clean it up. They don't have to clean up the entire area all by themselves, but definitely we can have an expectation of, oh, all these blocks are out. I'm going to need you to come back and help me pick up some of them before you can move on to the next activity. Now, in the fours class, when they are done with snack, the children are expected to be able to clean up their spot by themselves, to use the restroom if needed, and to sit in the library to read a book until the teacher's ready to go outside. Now, these are routines that we're going to work on through the first couple weeks of class, and then we would expect a 4-year-old to be able to kind of follow those routines on their own. So, oh, I know I'm done. I can get up, I can clean up my spot, I can go to the bathroom if I need to, I can sit down and read a book in the library. Now, if your child needs a little bit more assistance with some of those things, feel free to talk to your teacher about providing, assistance to them. Perhaps your child doesn't wipe very well on their own. Make sure that the teacher knows that. Or maybe they need a little bit more assistance in reminding about pottying. Make sure your teacher knows that. But our goal is for children to really become independent and self-reliant when it comes to self-care in the fours class. Then when we go out onto the big yard, there's a lot of stuff happening out there. They're going to be the oldest ones on the playground. They're busy. They have a plan when they're going out there. They're going to build a volcano. They're going to ride their bike as fast as they can. They're going to try to get across the monkey bars. Very different from a 2-year-old who's kind of just out there wandering, looking for something that, looking for a bug that might look interesting. Many fours go out onto that big yard and they have a plan of how they're going to use their 30 minutes out there. So we want to be able to be there to assist, but also to remind them, like, oh yeah, there are other kids here. If a 4-year-old is just zooming around on their bike and you see some 2-year-olds that are getting, narrowly missed on the bike, it's perfectly appropriate to ask them, to stop them and say, hey, I know you're really going super fast on your bike, but I need you to be really careful, because did you see this 2-year-old who's standing right here and she wants to cross the path? So if you see her, watch out and stop and invite her to go across. Or maybe even invite her to sit on the back of the trike so you can go fast and she can experience what that's like. So we're going to do a lot of supporting them in what it feels like to be the big kid, what it feels like to be the powerful kid, and how they can use that for, use their powers for good. The other thing that we see in the fours class is that we're asking children to sit and attend at circle for a little bit longer of a time. And this is normal for children to struggle with this a little bit. So what can you do to assist? Now, some children may really be struggling with this and have an alternate plan with the teacher. If that's the case, the teacher will let you know. But otherwise, our goal is for children to be able to sit and attend at Circle by the end of the school year for about 20 minutes. That's a significant period of time. So at the beginning of the year, we're looking at only maybe doing that for 10 minutes and then expanding that. So what can you do to help children? Because that's a really hard self-regulation skill to learn. Well, the first thing we can do is through proximity. So if you see a child that's struggling sitting still, or that is constantly up and down when the teacher is reading a book or teaching a lesson, the first thing we can do is just put ourselves in proximity to them, sit down next to them. Maybe all it takes is just a pat on the back or a touch of the arm, or even just kind of like snuggling up so your shoulder's touching their shoulder, and then they kind of lean into you, and then you become like that bracing point of, oh, okay, yes, I'm supposed to sit still here. So there's a lot of ways that just by being next to a child that we can assist them in that self-regulation skill. The other thing that we can do is provide a verbal reminder. Sometimes the touch isn't enough, or they're not really noticing that we're there. So one of the most important things that I can't stress enough to you is that if you don't know what to do, just do something. Sit down and talk to a child, read a book, ask the teacher, am I doing everything right? Should I be doing something else? What else do you need? We really depend on you to be a part and an integral and important part of our curriculum and our classroom. So if you're feeling a little intimidated or a little unsure, you can't go wrong by reading a book, by singing a song, by sitting down to play a game, or just by asking for help.